Can you thrive in Project Zomboid if you can't hide from the zombies? Can you evade death if you can't evade taxes? Can't crouch down and touch grass? I think the answer is going to surprise you. Today I'm going to show you why I don't think sneaking is that important in Project Zomboid. I spawned in a jewelry store. Can you tell I took burglar? Immediately I found a car key, a pen, and no gas. So I swung around the building and tried getting into the pharmaceutical business. The owners didn't think my PhD was real, but I got some ciggies out of it, so not all was lost. Apparently I caused a small ruckus, and my first chase begins. Listen, to live like me, you gotta get used to that rush of adrenaline, that wave of danger. Normally, this is where I duck behind a fence or something and start sneaking. But look man, you do not have to do that. It usually doesn't work anyway. So instead, I dive into a patriotic building and clamor for a weapon. No, that is a bathroom. The window breaks, but I am not shaken. My mission is clear. Spoon, no. Saucepan, yes. My first adversary enters the ring and I am poised for combat. I am equipped for danger. I am overrun easily and hope this door isn't locked. It wasn't, but instead of walking out, I skipped past it. That is a classic technique passed down from clones before me. I escaped the horde without sneaking, even once. All according to Kikaku. Is that how you say that? And here we go again. With the second horde evaded, I step out into the parking lot with a skip in my step and a ferocious third horde behind me. A simple fix. Hop the fence. Zombies aren't smart enough to climb yet. However, on the other side of that fence is Horde 4, and I've got a new technique I'd been hiding this whole time. Violence. After executing the undead, I break into this house and start collecting supplies. The usual: milk, produce, bread, fear. I grew up in a non-confrontational home, so I leave this problem alone and explore more of the house. I weigh my options with a revolver and decide it's better to face my childhood trauma with counseling and a hand axe to the dome. Nothing in this house aside from a deadly game of musical door. I'm not sure what got into me. I had already gotten the item I was fighting for, but I stayed and I engaged the enemy head on anyway. There's something to be said here about perseverance, endurance, and the rush of adrenaline that comes from efficiently putting the undead to rest despite your body shouting in pain and your hand axe breaking. Oh no. So as a power move, I bust out a cigarette and have a quick smoke. Doing that bought me a little time, so I quickly loot the zombies I convinced to take a nap and got myself a shotgun, car keys to a car I may never find, and I found the car! With a portable home now at my disposal, I'm feeling much more confident in my mortality rate. I'd say I've bumped up from 30 to 50%. Of course, my math is rough. I'm not a mathist. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know why I wanted to use my gun here, but I really wanted to. I guess I was feeling my oats that day because once I ran out of bullets, I equipped my drying pan. Again, I think I'm slowly dying, but I can't be sure yet. So as I camp out next to the waterfront, I quickly take care of my medical situation. Good news, my wound is infected. If my years of being a child taught me anything, it's best to rub some dirt on it, drink some Pepto, and forget about the time you fell out of the cart in Walmart. This police car's not gonna make it much further. Behold the van. There's no gas, but the keys are there. Here's a tip. If you're surrounded by cars, check them all. Get in the trunk, get in the car seats, just break in, do a little and keep an eye out for keys and gas cans. Those are your main two items. If you find a gas can, you can start siphoning gas out of the surrounding cars and then go to the car that you found the key for and put all the gas in that. And that's exactly what I did. All things considered, this has not been that bad of a day. For now, I need to rely on perishable food before it rots. I'm especially looking for butter and ice cream. I have to get rid of my underweight trait ASAP. With food and weapons checked off my list, I head back to the car and drive towards greener pastures. By the way, if you think the grass is greener somewhere else, that's a septic leak, just for future reference. So I made my way into the nearby school to grab lunch, bourbon, and a library card, but I mostly end up with a lackluster education. Now here's where I exceed expectations and do something genius, and I mean my intellect truly cannot be rivaled here. I begin honking my horn to clear the gas station. You see, I need gas, but there's zombies all over the gas station. How else am I supposed to draw them away without presenting myself to a dangerous situation? You're right. Very quickly, I came back to the gas station and filled my baby up to the brim. Not the van, no, just the gas can. I didn't think to fill my van. I don't know why, but I did think to have a look around for some precious cigarettes. And ciggies there were, thankfully. Obviously, there's also the alarm. That's, well, you know how this goes. The one good thing to come out of a house alarm is that all zombies in the radius are now laser focused on that area. And if you can sneak by the majority of them, you're gonna be relatively safe. For whatever reason, I didn't think to just leave them alone and sneak past. I honked my horn all the way down the road. I don't even know what my plan was here. I didn't hit save replay again for another 3 minutes, so as far as I know, I escaped the horde and settled down here in this nice little community. All that dumb gas station craziness aside, my primary concern now is building a defendable base. I cannot sneak, so I need to eliminate the chance of zombies detecting me outside my home. Ideally, I'd get a start on carpentry and boarding up windows. Hopefully have a second story entry point built, and maybe fence in the perimeter of my home. For now, the best I've got is sheets, curtains, mere fabric standing between me and the undead, but we should not despise the day of new beginnings. Instead, I opt to despise these undead folks attempting a home invasion. After sorting out that problem, I begin organizing my copious amounts of junk. Medicine goes here, clothes go there, tools in the tool closet, blood for the blood god, and this is my junk drawer. I spent the next day frantically trying to become not depressed. I figured we were onto something with that internet and the cat videos, and I flip on pause TV. Imagine my surprise when it works, but it worked all too well. See, if I were depressed, I wouldn't want to go outside, but watching cats be cats made me so ridiculously happy that I decided it was okay, that it was preferable to engage the locals in a rousing game of Stop Having a Skull, and they responded in kind with a game of Stop Having a Home. That is just classy. Now this is where, arguably, my hubris becomes so massive it kills the run. My trusty baseball bat broke. I'm being overrun. My fight or flight wimps out and defaults to flight, and I can't even get that right. My hubris, as mentioned, is massive and crippling. My thought process here is to gather all the zombies into a zombie ball and lead them away from my home. Then I'll come back, lick my wounds, and continue setting up my base. What actually happened is... So, I got my van stuck behind some house, and I cut my losses to get the heck out of Dodge. Made a mental note to come back later and a wisdom save to use my gun. Rolled a nat 20. That means it was a smart choice, right? Okay, well the nat 20 didn't really matter because my attack rolls were really low. Once again, it's raining, I'm wet, very sad, I need a smoke, and I'm looking for a vehicle to replace my previous car. There is no greater source of pain than losing a man's best van. I have finally found a suitable replacement van. This one has windows. Back to my main goal of settling down and building a base. First stop is the hardware store. Never mind, first stop is the great outdoors. I'm looking to start carpentry so I can fortify my next home and prevent my own stupidity from getting me killed again. Unfortunately, it's my own stupidity that gets me separated from my van again. This has got to stop happening. Regardless, I took advantage of the situation and did some foraging. I knew if I couldn't find a hammer, I could make one by banging a stick and some rocks together. I even found myself a heart attack. I did not know that was on the loot table. After clearing some nearby houses of all their doors and other breakable objects, I decided it was time to hit trees. It had been a long time since I last called a house home, and I wasn't letting zombies take another 4 walls away from me. I chose this small shack as my humble base. It had a doghouse, so I knew I was in good hands. It also had a car parked outside that was in pretty good condition. Now, it didn't have a key, so I'm gonna have to hotwire it later, but before I even bother with that, it'll need gas, and that sounds like a trip for future me, sucker. I quickly grew to love this home. The simplicity in its design, the elegance of the cardboard box, it all screams feng shui. Whatever that means. Before I start my second first house project, I need to get my crap organized, which was a lot easier to do after I adopted minimalism by means of constantly losing my stuff. You know how it goes. Junk in the junk drawer, medicine in the bathroom, food in the kitchen, blood for the blood god. Okay, let's start the project. I have an insatiable need for many nails, so I've gone a short distance through the trees to inflict more property damage. They were renting without insurance anyway, they were asking for it. I've already laid out all my planks around the windows I'm covering, so I'm gonna start with 2 each just to get a baseline defense. Some don't agree with my remodeling decisions, but some like having a garden fork shoved into their dome. So, on my to-do list now is never finish a complete thought, get gas, need more nails. On the gas front, I am in a pickle. I talk big game, but something tells me these zombies don't understand English. Despite the language barrier, I still got a cool hat, so we're still coming out on top. Filled up my gas can, and now we're, okay. I'm gonna be real with you, I don't know why I did that. Man, my garden fork broke. I was genuinely starting to love this weapon. It was one-shotting so many zombies. But it's not all loss. This is loss. This is a saw and a full gas can. Maybe there's light at the end of the tunnel. Maybe there isn't. Now back at the base, I begin organizing all my cool new stuff, and I tenderly rest my garden fork in a box to be used later. I understand I'm living in dangerous times. The electricity and the water are about to run out, and I need to prepare accordingly. Begin scavenging for non-perishable food and hoarding as much of it as I can. I am also on the hunt for a fanny pack. You cannot tell me this isn't the most styling thing you've ever seen. Okay, these guys really don't like fanny packs. Message received. That minor lapse in fashion sense aside, I've managed to hotwire my car and get her running. Just for fun, I took her out on a little joyride. Just for fun, I got ambushed by the helicopter. You're kidding. So I took that as a sign that it was time to explore outside of Riverside. I have no idea it was outside of Riverside, but I'll tell you what, I went on the best Napa's day out. I went to the country club, I saw some animals, encountered some zombies, I complained about the room service, and I left. And I did not get bit, I promise. That promise aside, earlier I mentioned that there might be light at the end of the tunnel. That light was a train, and that train was named Arrogance. The worst part is that I would not make it back home. Now don't take that to mean that I'm gonna fall here in this police station, no. My death would be much more public than that. It's said by wiser men that confidence is a slow and insidious killer. I had believed the notion that I could take on 2 zombies, and so I took on a horde. I wanted to clear out this hardware store so I could gather the materials I needed to finally get started on building my base for the second time. Ladies and gentlemen, mostly gentlemen, right here is where I messed up. I thought I could draw the horde out and lose them somewhere down the road. But the opposite happened. Somewhere down the road, I was called to hang up my axe, never even starting my carpenting business. Even the best laid plans crumble to dust. All it takes is one mistake born out of misplaced confidence. The apocalypse is no place for hubris. It is a place for slowing down and reflecting on your life, which is why I recommend this fishing video I made. I want to give a huge thank you to my Patreons, Ariad, Sean, and TC Chop. Thank you so much. You guys are legends.